Hey guys, so the Joy and Reid sat down for a power-packed episode of the Joy Reid Show with Wajahat Ali. Um, and Wajahat Ali and Joy Reid got to talking about immigration. Wajahat Ali, I just keep saying his full name. I'm sorry, I'm in a bit of a rhythm with saying it. But anyway, Ali says to Joy Reid that America has gotten so bad that even his cousin in Pakistan does not want to come to our country anymore. And this is intended as a negative consequence of Trump's immigration policy. That's the connotation of what he's saying there, that this is a very bad thing and a ding on America. So let's get into the full conversation so you can see some context for his remarks.
I think we have to because, white Americans are still a majority. They still are a voting majority. They're still the policy-making majority. And there's no self-reflection to say what's happening with our sons. There are a few people that are trying to, I think Scott Galloway is one of them that tries to sort of dig into what's happening with young white men and why they are so enraged. But there are not very many people who are willing to have that conversation because that's considered offensive, but it's considered totally fair game to do it with Muslims, to do it with brown people and black people.
Absolutely.
I want to play Donald Trump was at the UN. I think one of the reasons that Sinclair and Nexstar refused to play Jimmy Kimmel is they were afraid he was still in New York or he was back in DC. They wanted to make sure he didn't have to see Jimmy Kimmel make fun of him because he's so soft and he's such a little snowflake. But I want to play.
Hold on, Joy Reid. Before she moves on and plays this Donald Trump clip, I don't know what sort of reality she's living in where it's politically incorrect to talk about young white men and how they're voting and if they've been radicalized, because I feel like that's all we've talked about for 10 years. And in fact, I would say that probably it's young women who have been radicalized towards the left. And if young men have trended rightwards, it's been maybe in a at a less dramatic rate than young women have flocked to the left. But even putting that aside, people have been having many discussions about per capita crime rates recently, which I think could be relevant for our friend Joy Reid here to read up on. Although I'm sure that she would have some excuse to hand wave the violence committed by non-white men away. But I will say it's always interesting tuning into the Joy and Reid comedy hour because it really is like watching TV from a different reality, like interdimensional cable. It's just so amazing to me that this is the world that she's living in. But let's continue. Let's see what Trump has to say and let's see their, sassy, no doubt sassy response to it.
This is A15. This is Trump talking about the people that he has demonized and said is the real cause of violence and instability in the country, not just in the US, but he also did a whole weird white nationalist international thing and also talked about Europe. Jason, let me know when you've got A15. This is Donald Trump speaking to the UN General Assembly. Here it is.
We asserted that America belongs to the American people, and I encourage all countries to take their own stand in defense of their citizens as well. You have to do that because I see it. I'm not mentioning names. I see it, and I can call every single one of them out. You're destroying your countries. They're being destroyed. Europe is in serious trouble. They've been invaded by a force of illegal aliens like nobody's ever seen before. Illegal aliens are pouring into Europe. Nobody is ever, and nobody's doing anything to change it, to get them out. It's not sustainable. And because they choose to be politically correct, they're doing just absolutely nothing about it.
Your thoughts. And he said your countries are getting destroyed if you don't get rid of the immigrants.
Look at this pathetic, decaying sack of orange flesh barely hanging on with his weak cankles. This disturbed, aging, whining, perpetually frustrated, weak snowflake. This man whom God has given so much power and so much influence, and instead of using his time to make the country great again, he instead whines, attacks immigrants, the marginalized, and grifts. I want to remind everyone, because New York, the NBC has actually a good little paragraph at that stage, that world stage. This is the man. This is why white supremacy, Joy, I've always said, is ultimately so self-destructive. White supremacy.
As he talks about white supremacy being self-destructive, his audio just combusts. I love it. I love the timing. But obviously Trump is correct here, and also it's not just illegal immigration. Yes, these countries are facing massive waves of illegal migration from the Middle East, maybe from Northern Africa, let's say in Spain, France too, I think. But you can look at Britain, and they have totally opened up their country to foreigners. They've made many legal pathways to do that. And it's an enormous strain on the native population. I mean, you'll read about people saying, I'm struggling financially, I don't get paid very much, my rent's pretty high. And I look over and my neighbor is in this subsidized flat, subsidized by who? You know, us, the people of Britain. And they've been given all these goodies, again, from us. And I'm speaking as a British person, which I obviously am not. But there is a parallel here with the United States. And obviously Wajahat Ali would never append the label marginalized to the people in their native European homelands, or, you know, the people in their native American homeland. And no, I'm not referring to the Cherokee, because the United States has a native founding population. But these people who are being marginalized, I think that's probably an appropriate term, by waves of immigration. And some of it is legal and some of it is illegal, but there are a lot of people in these countries who did not vote for that, did not want it, and it was foisted upon them. I'm also a little bit confused because Wajahat Ali and Joy Reid and, you know, people of their ilk gripe endlessly about the evils of white supremacy and young white men and white people in general and white women and whatever. Why do they want to be in white majority countries so badly? I mean, Wajahat Ali's cousin apparently doesn't, so good for him for staying consistent. But they will defend the migrants' right to live in Europe or live in America or live in Canada or whatever, no matter what, even when these countries are just, you know, supposedly these dens of white supremacy. You would think it would be a pretty hostile environment, if so undesirable for, you know, for a migrant from the Middle East or Mexico. I don't know.
Is ultimately, is Don interrupting my flow? Why are you doing that to me, Don?
Don is in the building. Don is in the
why did I do that?
room.
Why you gotta do that to me? Why you gotta do me dirty, Don? But as I was saying, white supremacy is ultimately self-destructive. And look how pathetic it is. The NBC said at the UN, that was our representative. He pretended that he ended 7 wars, false, while pointing to approval ratings that exist only in his mind. He renewed his lobbying for the Nobel Peace Prize. He falsely claimed that everyone wants to get him one. He took pointless shots at our allies. He told unnamed officials that their countries are going to hell. He bragged about campaign swag sales. He attacked clean energy, insisted climate change is a hoax, concocted by nefarious people with evil intentions. And what we found out, Joy, and this pains me as an American, other countries were laughing at him and laughing at us. I want to tell you all something about Pakistan. My parents are from Pakistan. It's a country with many challenges. My cousin came here from Pakistan, studied, went back. He was about to come to America. You know what he said? He goes, hey, man, I was about to buy a ticket to America, but things look really bad. I'm just going to stick back in Karachi. When people in Pakistan are looking at us and they're like taking pity.
Yeah.
Joy.
I feel sorry for you. It's a problem. Oh, my God. Wajahat Ali.
Thank you so much, Donald Trump. This is beautiful. This is a ringing endorsement of Donald Trump's presidency. For whatever skepticism people on the right have, or complaints about, you know, inefficiency or campaign promises, Wajahat Ali's cousin is not coming to America to bother us. And I think that, frankly, I think that should be on Donald Trump's website. I think that should be like a banner at the top. I saved America from more people like Wajahat Ali. But I don't know, it's just such a bankrupt view of what America is and what a nation is, that it's basically this like economic zone to plunder which you are not obligated to return anything to, maybe taxes, but you know, it's not defined in any way by some sort of shared culture or people. It's just a strip mall, and you come in and you spend some money and you take things home. It's all very transactional in that way. But this is my good news of the day. I feel happy. I feel excited about the direction that this country is going. And I want to say thanks again to President Donald Trump for delivering us from this terrible fate of having to encounter, you know, anyone who vaguely resembles Wajahat Ali. We don't need more Wajahat Ali type Substack writers. So I'll leave you with that. Let me know what you thought of this conversation in the comment section below. Give this video a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.